On the 9th of December 2021, I have beaten my then hardest completion to date. People that know me really well should already know that my experience on new hardest hasn't necessarily been
I got
the best. So when I decided to play Rust, I didn't set my expectations too high. Notorious for having a very inconsistent pre-drop and an absolutely brutal ending, I wouldn't have been surprised if my experience with the level would have been way worse than anything I've ever experienced. Little did I know, it would end up becoming one of my best experiences with any level ever, and with it being one of my favorite levels in the game, I have decided to give something back. Being one of the most popular and hardest levels in Geometry Dash, I will try my best to help you escape the factory NH4 has created. Welcome to How to Beat Rust. First of all, to all those who do not know who I am. I'm Volcanium4, currently ranked in the top 300 worldwide on Planocrate, also known as the Demon List. I've been the 21st victor of Rust and the first one in Germany. I held the shared record with Spartax for the highest fluke from a victor on Rust, fluking level from 78%. Now about the level, Rust is currently ranked at number 25 in the Demon List, just edging the top 25, below Kappa and above the Rupture. Rust is heavily inspired by Black Blizzard by Karma L and Sunset Sandstorm by Clone44, a level which I have beaten and is among my favorite levels in the game. Both levels are currently placed on the extended list and are known for having very unorthodox gameplay and their significantly harder first cubes. What I can recommend everyone that has plans in going for Rust is to either beat Sunset or Black Blizzard beforehand to gather the fundamentals and skills of that kind of gameplay, as Rust pushes said gameplay to its very limits, but we're going to take a closer look at the gameplay in a second. Before we start, I'll explain how I will structure this guide. I'm going to start off by taking a closer look at the gameplay fundamentals that are being needed to beat Rust. Afterwards, we're entering the gameplay section and working our way chronologically, meaning we're starting off with the pre-drop, then the drop, which I'm going to split in two parts, and finally we're taking a look at the last cube. To close out the video, I will tell you how to approach the level as wisely as possible and which runs you should seek before beating the level. Each section has a timestamp, which is in the video's description and hopefully visible in the progress bar of the video if you want to jump directly to it. Additionally, the section we're currently in is going to be displayed in the bottom right of the video. Alright, so without further ado, let's start with the fundamentals of Rust. Sunset Sandstorm and Black Blizzard both utilize very unorthodox gameplay gimmicks. Black Blizzard is notorious for its extremely precise timings in the first two cubes and being one of the first very popular levels to utilize double clicks to pass certain sections. Sunset Sandstorm further pushes this gameplay idea while also inventing new gameplay aspects. Alongside with the use of double clicks, precise timings in the first cube and collisions with H blocks, the level is much more known for its use of corner jumps where you jump off the corner of a block where a spike is laying on top. Speaking of Sunset Sandstorm, 12 Kelvin recently uploaded a very in-depth and also very entertaining guide on how to beat Sunset Sandstorm. I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to beat Sunset Sandstorm before approaching Rust.
Hello chicken shits, my name is Markiplier and today I'm going to teach you how to play Sunset Sandstorm. So you want to do that, yeah? That's the end goal. Normally, you would jump early, hit this red orb, and then that pink orb, and then that dash orb, like that. But that method fucking sucks. But yeah, anyway, that is not a good method. Like, the way I do it is much easier, and a lot more consistent in my opinion.
There are a total of 8 double clicks in Rust in 3 different ways. The first way to do a double click is where you click your mouse and your spacebar at the same time to trigger 2 orbs at the same time. Another way to do a double click is what I call a second input double click, where you hold down the first click and then add an input while the first click is still holding. Meaning you click the mouse, hold down the mouse, and during holding down you enter another input with your spacebar. The last way to do a double click is where you double click into a dash orb, meaning that one of the 2 inputs has to hold down after the double click to ensure that the dash orb doesn't get cancelled. So you double click with your spacebar and your mouse, and then hold down either the mouse or the spacebar to prolong the dash orb. Lastly, there are the corner jumps and the H block jumps. I do not need to explain to you how a corner jump works if you've seen Sunset Sandstorm already, but in case you haven't, you can jump off the very beginning and the very end of a block where a medium-sized spike is laying on top. Same goes for an H block jump. So how a cube normally works, if you bash your head against a block you die, but an H block prevents that, letting you redirect the movement of your jump from the block. With that being said, let's go to the first section of Rust and start with the pre-drop. So the pre-drop starts off kinda simple. You use the yellow orb in the middle, then use a corner jump using the blue orb. Then there's an H block hidden at 2% where you need to click the yellow orb very late to hit the portal afterwards. Then you click the green orb late but not too late and the following green orb early. Click the black orb in the middle and then the green orb very late to enter the portal. Then you make two quick inputs where you hold the second click and then buffer the last blue orb. Which afterwards you click the green orb and then jump thrice into the first double click. After clicking, you click the blue orb into the next double click and then you jump slightly after you've left the ground to hit the green orb in the middle. And then at this point you want to hit the blue orb kinda early to hit the double click very low to make it the most consistent. Then you click the black orb very late, the dash orb very late, the blue orb kind of in the middle. You light tap the dash orb and then you click right as you're about to hit the spike and buffer the next click. Now you need to watch out because there's an invisible spike at the end and you need to jump over the spike, which I'm showing you right now. So you light tap the blue orb and then jump one last time to exit the pre-drop. Don't worry if the pre-drop is inconsistent at first. If you're patient enough, you will find the pre-drop very consistent after a short time and it will become one of the most fun parts of the level. Just practice it enough and you will have a blast playing through it every single time. So let's go to the next part. So you click the blue orb kinda early and the black and the green orb in the middle into a light shift tap over the first spike. Then you try to stay as close to the spikes as possible while hitting the green orbs to change your gravity. At this point you want to prepare the 24% exit because 25 to 29 is going to be very difficult and you need to hard click as soon as you pass the spike that is highlighted right now. Now comes the most difficult section before the last cube. So if you watch closely, you want to hit the dash up at the very end. In order to hit the dash up correctly, you need to jump off the spike as closely as possible. So what you need to do is to hit the blue orb kinda late, the black orb very early, the green orb as late as possible. And if you do the first 3 clicks correctly, you only need to hit the dash up in the middle in order to hit the dash up correctly. Then it's pretty self-explanatory. You click the green orb in the middle, the black orb in the middle, the blue orb in the middle, then the yellow orb late, and then you hit every black orb in the middle while holding down the last black orb and then hold the pink orb into a second input double click of the black and the green orb, do 2 quick inputs into the black orb and the green orb, then you jump off the block, hitting the blue orb very late, jump off the block again, hit the yellow orb very late, the blue orb very late into 3 clicks, avoiding all of the blocks into the yellow orb. Buffer the green orb, and then you weave through the spike pillars while holding down every last click to trigger the orbs instantly that are in the cube portals. After doing this, you enter a cube portal where you need to jump late and then hit the blue orb very late to not trigger the portal early. The first half of the drop is much shorter than the second half of the drop, which you're going to see in a second, but just let me tell you that dying to 25 to 29 is very common in the early stages of playing the level, so don't be motivated if you do die there quite a lot. Just keep playing the level from 0 or from start positions and I assure you this part gets consistent after a while, but you're going to die there quite a lot at first. Alright, now on to the second last part, the second half of the drop. So you hit the gravity portal very high into a light tap of the green orb over the spike, then you hit the black orb, and then you hit the green orb, over the spike again and hold as soon as you pass the spike. And then you buffer the black and the green orb. What you need to do here is to hit the blue orb very late and then instantly follow with a perfect double click around that circle and the blue orb. If you do that, you hit the black orb kinda late. Early click the blue orb, click this blue orb in the middle, the pink orb in the middle and both blue orbs late. Hold down the second blue orb and then click both pink orbs while holding down the last. You then click the blue orb in the middle, then double click the blue and the dash orb, click the blue and the pink orb. You tap twice into the blocks and then, one important tip, you start clicking in the middle of the first blue orb and do 4 synchronized clicks, each of those being in the middle of the blue orbs. You light tap the dash orbs, click once into the blue orb and then you click the black orbs to negate the pad below it, except for the last one which you're going to hit very late to enter the portal. After which you click the yellow orb, double click the yellow and black orb, click this yellow orb very late, the green orb and the black orb to enter the last two orbs. The second half of the drop is much easier than the first half, and it's solely carried by the 52 double click, which I highly recommend you learn over and over because you're going to die there a lot from zero. Luckily I only died 8 times there from zero, but it was really out of luck or out of my good setup that I had before. But anyway, let's go into the last spot, the last cubes. After clicking the black orb, you just want to watch where you need to land. You don't need to think a lot about where you need to jump off, just watch off where you need to land and then you're going to be totally fine. Then you hit the black orb in the middle, the green orbs both late, the last one late as well, and then you hit the dash orb very late. Into 2 yellow orbs which you both hit at the last frame possible, to not die at the spike afterwards. Now at 77% you need to watch at the block that it's highlighted right now. So there's a gray section of the block which you need to use to orientate yourselves. You don't want to cross the bar that is highlighted right now. If you do not touch the block and jump right before you touch the bar, you will not die at the spikes. Then you double click into the dash orb, then click the dash orb very late, repeat this for the next 2 dash orbs, and then you click both blue orbs very late and buffer click the yellow orb. Then you jump off very late again, then click both yellow orbs in the middle, click the blue orb late, and then you need to watch because you want to jump off the blue orb in the middle of the block. Then you hit the green orb to not touch the ground and then hit the blue orb in the middle. Then click the blue orb and you don't need to worry about the blue orb. There are J blocks at the ground, so you don't need to micro-click any of these. While additionally looking at the dash orb, you want to dash into that straight line. So you click the yellow orb in the middle, click the blue orb and then do 2 corner jumps into the dash orb where you want to stay on that line. Then you click the green orbs, click 2 of the yellow orbs, jump over the blocks, and then you want to click as closely to the spike as possible. And then you need to do the same thing that I told you earlier. Don't think too much about where you need to jump, just look where you need to land. And that's making the click much more consistent. So you click both orbs, and then you click inside the opening, click the yellow orb late, and at the end there's a blue orb, but not really one blue orb, there are 2 blue orbs in the circle. So you need to double click inside the blue orbs and then hold down the second click because there's an H block above which is going to make you corner jump into the final block, and then you finish the rust with the black orb into the last corner jump which leads you to end the level. So the last cube of rust is by far the hardest part of the level. You can't really get consistent at the last cube because there are so many times where you just don't do anything and you can't build up muscle memory because you just don't have a click dance part. What I recommend is doing this part as the first run to 100 before touching any of the parts before. So what you want to do is to do 70 to 100, and I kid you not, this part looks easier than it actually plays. This part is so difficult, and you're going to see once you're going to touch it. But yeah, I think that's it for the last cube, and let's head into the final thoughts. So if you've made it here and want to know how to beat Rust as quickly as possible, I can recommend to do the last cube as the first run to 100, and then don't touch it until you reach the last cube from 0. Try to get consistent with all of the drop parts as quickly as possible, and at the same time try to play as often from 0 as you can, because you want to get consistent with the pre-drop as quickly as possible and then with the drop. And once you reach the last cube from 0, you want to practice the last cube extensively, so you want to spend at least a day only doing 1 to 100. And your goal for that is to get 43 to 100 as quickly as possible, and then just after you've done 43 to 100 to touch the level from 0 again. I think that's it for the guide. Thanks for watching and thanks for the support that I've been getting recently. And just watch for the description for all the people that I want to thank. Most importantly, all the guys that helped me beating Rust and all the persons that helped me to make this guide possible. And yeah, if you have any further questions, just tell me in the comments and we'll see you next time, guys. Peace.